Picture this. It's November 7th, 2000. The US presidential election hangs on 537 votes in Florida. But in this timeline, the Supreme Court doesn't halt the recount. The ballots tip blue. Al Gore becomes president. What happens next? Buckle up. This alternate timeline reshapes everything from climate policy to the war on terror, and maybe even your daily life. Let's start with the obvious: climate change. Gore was ringing alarm bells about global warming long before it was mainstream. In our reality, President Bush withdrew from the Kyoto Protocol, an international treaty to cut carbon emissions. But in this timeline, Gore pushes the US to lead the charge. Imagine America investing trillions in renewable energy during the early 2000s. Solar, wind, electric cars. By 2010, green tech isn't a niche industry. It's the backbone of the economy. Countries like China and India, facing pressure from a united US-Europe climate bloc, joined stricter emissions agreements decades earlier. Coastal cities today might not be battling rising seas. But here's the twist. Would this rapid shift cripple the oil industry? Texas and Saudi Arabia scramble to adapt, reshaping global alliances. The Middle East's power dynamics shift as renewables replace fossil fuels. Now let's talk about September 11th. Gore's foreign policy team was laser-focused on Al-Qaeda before 9/11. In our world, the Bush administration initially sidelined counterterrorism for other priorities. But President Gore, advised by Clinton-era security experts, might have heeded the infamous August 2001 memo titled, "Bin Laden Determined to Strike in US." With heightened vigilance, could the attacks have been thwarted? If 9/11 never happens, there's no invasion of Iraq. No war means no power vacuum for ISIS to rise. Afghanistan remains a peripheral conflict. Anti-American sentiment in the Middle East cools without occupation. But without the war on terror, does the US security state still balloon? No Patriot Act, no NSA surveillance leaks. Your privacy rights? Stronger. Airport security? Less intrusive. Yet here's the catch. Without a unifying wartime president, does Gore's domestic agenda face fiercer opposition? A Republican Congress blocks his climate laws, sparking partisan gridlock. Sound familiar? Finally, let's reimagine the 2000s economy. Gore championed the internet as a information superhighway. Under his leadership, broadband expansion becomes a New Deal-style project. Rural America gets high-speed internet by 2005, not 2020. Silicon Valley booms faster, but with tighter regulations on data privacy. No Facebook, move fast and break things mantra. Social media evolves as a curated space, not a free-for-all. Meanwhile, Gore's push to tax carbon could slow the housing bubble. No Iraq war also means less defense spending, possibly averting the 2008 financial crisis. But would a greener tech-heavy economy leave blue-collar workers behind? Midwest factories close faster without Bush's steel tariffs. Populist anger simmers. But without a 2008 crash, does Trumpism ever take off? So what's the verdict? A Gore presidency might have given us a cooler planet, a quieter Middle East, and a smarter internet. But every decision creates new fractures. Maybe the 2000s become an era of optimism, or maybe different crises erupt. One thing's certain, that Florida recount didn't just decide an election, it decided the future. What would you prefer, the timeline we got, or the one that almost was? Let's debate in the comments. And if you're craving more mind-bending alternate histories, smash that subscribe button.
This is Bytes of Goats, where we don't just talk about history, we learn from it. See you in the next one.